Okay, let's jump right in. Today we're unpacking an incredibly dark and cinematic explainer about what happens when a party's ultimate support character is pushed to his absolute breaking point. We are talking about a gripping, intense tale of betrayal, survival, and a truly terrifying ascent to power. So if you're a fan of those stories where the underdog claws their way back from the abyss to become completely unapologetically overpowered and exact some highly calculated revenge, you're definitely going to want to stick around for this one.
Picture this. Imagine surviving absolute hell just to defeat a demon king, only to realize that your best friends, the exact people you trusted with your life, were the ones who literally pushed you into the abyss. Right? How would that change you? What would you do if the very bottom of that abyss offered you a dark, forbidden power to strike back at the people who threw you away?
Section 1. Betrayal at the Abyss.
So, our journey starts with Jill. He's a marginalized mapper who honestly thought he'd finally found a family with Voss's legendary hero party. But to protect their spotless public image, these so-called saviors, Voss, Drain, Rook, and Jury, dragged Jill out to the desolate Swandle Gorge. The public saw this party as noble heroes, the saviors of Glora, but in reality, they just wanted to execute Jill so no one would ever find out a taboo spirit talker was part of their elite squad. It's incredibly messed up.
And the ultimate emotional betrayal hits when he's literally clinging for his life on the edge of a cliff. Jury, the woman Jill deeply cared for, looks down at him with this twisted, dark smile. She tells him, right to his face, that if he had left the party first, she would have missed the chance to kill him herself. And then she mercifully blasts him off the cliff with a high-tier lightning spell.
Section 2. The Skills Stealer's Rebirth.
Now here is where things get wild, because a fatal fall transforms into the ultimate power-up. Jill doesn't hit the bottom. He's miraculously saved by a cliffside covered in the impaled corpses of former adventurers, and waiting in the darkness is Veldor, a betrayed ancient bone dragon. Veldor makes Jill a very dark offer. In exchange for sacrificing his right arm, the dragon replaces it with white bone, granting him an overpowered, rule-breaking ability called Skill Steal. Jill can now just touch a corpse, extract a soul fragment, and, this is the genius part, stack duplicate skills to forcibly evolve them into higher-tier magic.
So what does he do? Jill spends an entire year down there doing nothing but grinding. He strips skills from hundreds of dead adventurers in the gorge and hunts monsters in the Great Forest. His basic spells evolve insanely fast. A simple wind thrust turns into the deadly thrust fang. By stacking 200 copies of a monster's mighty arm, he unlocks massive special bonuses. He completely transforms from a fragile support mapper into a terrifying one-man army.
Section 3. A Ghostly Ancient Hero.
Armed with this new white bone arm and god-tier magic, Jill infiltrates the kingdom's royal cemetery. He literally melts through stone with acid spirits just to recruit an unlikely ally from a sealed tomb, the ghost of Runa, an ancient hero. Her backstory is completely tragic. 100 years ago, she defeated the old Demon King, but her own kingdom poisoned her because, well, an overpowered hero is a huge political threat in peacetime. Jill breaks her seal and brilliantly anchors her ghost to a crystal necklace so she can join his quest for vengeance.
Section 4. Vengeance Against the Shield.
All right, let's move to the city of Nerkia for our very first taste of satisfying payback. Drain, the heavy fighter who actually kicked Jill off the cliff, is now a corrupt, untouchable tyrant lord. Jill infiltrates his castle, throws up a soundproof barrier, and just goes to work. When Drain summons his massive dark battle axe, Jill literally vibrates the weapon to pieces. It's crazy. Then, knowing Drain relies on his invincible physical defense, Jill wraps his own fist in raw fire magic and punches him point blank. The defense stops the physical punch, sure, but the magic just bypasses it and burns Drain alive from the inside out.
And as Dream turns to ash, Jill touches his remains and claims an absolute epic haul of skills. He absorbs Supreme Axe Mastery, Advanced Body Enhancement, and that absolutely crucial Invincible Physical Defense. Then, to make sure he makes a clean getaway, Jill uses a stolen nightmare skill to plant a false memory in the guards. Now, everyone believes the guilt-ridden tyrant just locked his own door and committed suicide by fire. It is flawless, completely untraceable vengeance.
Section 5. The Saint's Ugly Secret.
Now, before tracking down his next target, Jury,
Jill takes a quick detour to Lake Lucan to find the remains of Runa's old party member. And along the way, he literally one-shots a massive fire dragon using Drain's stolen axe, gaining a skill called Draconic Blaze. When Runa recovers the ancient skull of Rina the Mage from the lake, Jill unlocks supreme earth magic and a wildly unique, rule-breaking skill called Attach. Keep that skill in the back of your mind because it becomes incredibly important later.
So, Jill tracks Juri down to the recovering town of Horus. She's widely worshipped there as a pure, selfless saint. But deep in an abandoned mine, Jill uses his spirits to uncover her sickening reality. She's running a hidden slaughterhouse, draining the life force of young women to maintain her own eternal youth. She even poisoned and starved her own twin sister, Stella, leaving her perfectly preserved corpse in a coffin just out of pure twisted jealousy.
Section 6. The Demon and the Resurrection.
This leads us directly to the climax of this arc, where the scale of the betrayal explodes way beyond anything Jill could have ever imagined. An upper demon named Gaestra steps out of the shadows and drops a massive bombshell. Demon King Valzard never actually died. He split his soul into 4 pieces to fake his death. Voss's entire hero party, they were secretly demonic pawns all along, meant to infiltrate the kingdom and rot it from the inside out. Jill wasn't killed for public relations, he was executed because his unique spirit magic threatened to expose their entire demonic plot.
Hearing this, Juri drops all her saintly pretenses and goes for a desperate sneak attack with a knife. But she completely forgets about Jill's newly stolen physical defense. The blade just bounces right off. And instead of just killing her quickly, Jill goes for pure poetic justice. He uses energy drain to rip away the one thing she values above absolutely everything else, her stolen youth. He drains her into a withered husk, trapping her in her own madness as she's forced to stare at her horrifying reflection in a mirror of ice.
But the fight isn't over. Gaestra is an upper demon throwing around literal matter-erasing magic. Jill is totally outgunned until Runa uses her supreme earth magic to build herself a physical body out of the dirt. She sacrifices her spirit form to tank Gaestra's matter-erasing blast. This gives Jill the exact split-second opening he needs. Using his new Attach skill, he binds the ancient hero's power directly to his white bone arm, impaling the demon with a blinding blade of pure light.
Gaestra is severely wounded and manages to flee, but the battle cost Runa everything. Her soul is literally fading away. But remember that Supreme Attach skill? Jill brilliantly utilizes it right here. Because the skill allows him to fuse any 2 distinct elements together, he takes Runa's fading soul and attaches it directly into the perfectly preserved empty vessel of Stella's body. And against all odds, the spell actually works. Runa opens her eyes, miraculously brought back to life in the physical world.
So, let's recap where we're at. Jill has had his first real tastes of vengeance. He has completely dismantled 2 of his betrayers, and he now has a resurrected, incredibly grateful ancient hero fighting right by his side. But with the upper demons still plotting in the shadows and the party leader Voss entirely oblivious, acting like a pristine hero back in the capital. What do you think this overpowered anti-hero is going to destroy next? Because the Skill Stealer's vengeance, it has only just begun.